What if the greatest sales education in the world does not happen in a classroom, a boardroom, or even a best-selling course, but door to door in a Mumbai neighborhood with a kid holding a pack of firecrackers and a simple idea? Today's guest did not wait for permission to learn business. He lived it. And now he is bringing together those lessons on sales in a new book. Not a textbook, not in theory, but a real account of what it takes to sell, build, and create relationships that last. So, Mr. Nitin Dhaboo, welcome to our podcast. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. It is really wonderful to be here, and I'm really excited for this conversation.
So, let's start from the beginning. Before the board meetings, before the strategy meetings, and before the media deals, there was a child growing up in Navi Mumbai. And from what I understand, this child was not waiting for opportunities to appear. He was already creating them. So tell me a little bit about your childhood days. How was your experience selling soap from door to door?
It goes 30 years back when a salesman was knocking the door, and that time I was facing the financial challenges. So I thought, let's pursue this opportunity to earn money. That time I had my piggy bank. I broke that. I got some money. With that I bought few soaps and thought of selling door to door. And I started with that. With that I had a real life experience. It was my first sales journey. When I used to knock the door, I used to get a polite no. Sometimes I used to get a bang on the door. Sometimes I used to get a yes. And I remember one granny kind of lady gave me 11 rupees that time. And she said, I don't have more money, but then this is for your blessing. So all these learnings shaped my life, and I got many life lessons and sales lessons from there.
How interesting. Do you remember when you had your first successful sale?
Oh, my first sales. Okay. That day, first day, with the bag full of soaps, I went door to door. Okay. I finished 4 buildings and no one bought it. Okay. I thought I spent my piggy bank and now no one is buying it. What will I do? And then one uncle opened the door. I said I'm selling soap and I have wonderful soaps. So he just stared at me, saw the soaps and said, come in. And he offered me a glass of water. After roaming for 4 buildings, so that one guy who offered me water at that time. And then he said, tell me, this company I don't know, we buy branded soaps. And explain about that. So I just want to tell product knowledge is very important. That time that soap were handmade. So before going into the market, I had prepared what soap is all about, how natural it is, and with the natural oils and the kind of variety and the fragrances into it. So he was so amazed with my knowledge at that time. I was in 9th that time and he was quite amazed, and he bought 10 soaps for me. So that was like, that sale made my day.
Because he was so impressed with the fact that you had product knowledge.
Yeah, and with the product knowledge and way, genuinely I was explaining to him, he felt, okay, for this child, it deserves a sale. And that was my first sale.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's try to talk about, something else which is highly misunderstood in the sales, sphere. What is the thing that a lot of people get wrong or misunderstand about sales? Would you like to tell us?
Sales. Sales is very important function of organization. People appreciate founders, innovators, but then they fail to appreciate the salesman. Salesman is a kind of backbone of any organization, and without sales, the organization cannot sustain. With it, I'll say that salesman is not only the person who is selling your product, he is the superman of your organization. Sales doesn't go with only the persuasion part. Sales is beyond persuasion. When you go to the person with the intention to pursue, okay, the pressure lies on you. Okay, I need to get yes from that person. But then when you go with the flow, you connect with that person and then understand his need. then sales arrives. So it is more about the understanding, finding the real solutions, and then putting your product to fulfill his need or his dream. So that is all sales about.
Absolutely. Very insightful. So, do you think listening becomes more important in the process?
Yes, absolutely. Sales is more of listening, listening by heart, understanding a sentence behind the sentence, understanding the need of the customer, understanding what he's thinking about. And when you realize what the person is speaking and what he want to achieve in his life, or what he want to pursue in his life, or which problem we can solve getting into the sales, makes every difference. When you provide the right solution to the right problem, the sales become quite easy, and it is all about listening and speaking less than hearing more.
Your professional journey eventually took you into the media industry where you worked with organizations like the Indian Express, Info Media, and Red FM. For someone outside the industry, media sales might look very simple, probably just like selling advertising space. But in reality, it is far more strategic. So tell me, Mr. Nitin, how does media sales actually work?
Media revenue works on multiple levels. So it is beyond ad sales or the commercial space. It requires a deep understanding of brand and the brand communicating with the consumer. We as a media work as a media vehicle, just not only to carry the message, but to carry the conversation at the right time to the right audience. So it is beyond selling the ad space or the commercial time. It is more of understanding the consumer and then catering to that consumer need with the right communication from the brand.
Got it. So tell us, what is the one thing that has guided you through your career in sales?
Sales is all about standing for a long time. It is beyond the numbers. It is beyond the targets. It is beyond just achieving that yes. It is when you win the trust. Okay, you understand his needs.
Yeah.
You understand what exactly which product should be the solution for that particular situation. What dream of the consumer you can fulfill with your product, and for that you need to have a better understanding first of your product and organization, followed by you should ask questions. You should ask questions and understand what all things making him talk about that particular product and the situation. There are going to be multiple objections, rejections, or there are going to be the questions which are quite difficult for you to understand. But then you have to think again what exactly that buyer is expecting, and accordingly you have to answer with your genuinity and with all your knowledge to achieve that particular sales. So with the sales, you get the understanding where you just get into a meeting or into the conversation. It is not only for that particular moment, it is for the long term relationship. It is you are earning that client to you for a longer period of time. That client should come back to you whenever he is facing the same kind of problem, or he is expecting that kind of product. He should come back to you. So you should be the solution provider for that client, and when you provide the solutions and when you create the ease for the client, then only you win that client.
Right. So, what I understand is that basically what you're trying to highlight is that more than the sales, it's also following up on client servicing and building that relationship to last long term. Correct?
Correct. So it is not when you sell the product, it is post that also, because sometimes what happens, like a salesman sells a product and then he forgets that customers. Okay, but then you have to think if you can provide that sale. Okay, you can upscale it by adding to another product to it, as well as the client servicing part is quite crucial, because when the client experience becomes good, So at that time you win that client. So that experience is quite important, and once that experience gets better and once you become his solution provider, so every time he faces the similar situation, he comes back to you. So I'll take you to a small example. In your school, when while doing your math sums at the school classroom, okay, and you get some doubt, and instead of approaching the teacher, you sometimes approach to your colleague, and when he solves that question, okay, you tend to go back to him next time whenever you feel the same situation. So clients are also similar to that. So when you provide the solution, when you delight them, when you make them happy, okay, and then you provide the right solution with the right product and with the trust, okay, he's tend to come back to you. And when you earn so many clients and so many experiences and make you put a joy to the client, so that is how a successful salesman becomes.
So what I understand is that basically through this process, this helps make customers stay retained for a longer period of time and a longer basis is what you're saying, right?
Yes, retaining customers is a crucial part, and when you retain the customer, you get the good references. I'll tell you one example. One of my client came to me with very small requirement. Generally, we don't cater such kind of requirement as the company policy. But then I convinced my management ki okay, that requirement is there. Let's fulfill that requirement. It was very small. Like my manager was saying ki okay, for that don't put so much of time. It is not required. I say ki it's okay. He came with some kind of problem. Let's give that things to him and solve that issue. And I did that. And after that, he really got well connected with me. He gave all his contract from the competition to me, and he said, "Okay, now henceforth for any kind of solution, I'll come to you only." And with that, I kept getting different campaigns for him. After that, he gave my reference to other 2-3 businessmen, and they also got connected with me. So it creates a kind of entire opens up the various avenues for you, and it goes just beyond to that class. And when you get that recognition, and when like some of your friend is referring to you, okay, that creates more credibility than just customers coming to you.
Absolutely. I understand now that you're trying to capture a lot of these ideas in your book, The Life Skill Called Sales. So what inspired you to write it?
The life skill called sales is all about my journey, all about my experience. So all 30 years, whatever I have observed, I just mentioned in that book. So it is about my mistakes, about my learnings. It is about my experience when I was into the world. This book doesn't only talk about sales, it goes beyond. When I talk the life skill called sales, so I'm mentioning the sales is a life skill. When you achieve that, okay, you get success in your life. So from your childhood, okay, when you want to convince your friend to play with you, from your interviews where you need to prepare and get that interview, when you're proposing someone and to get that yes, when you want the promotion, so everything is connected. But when you achieve these life skills in the format of sales, the success which you can get is the ratio would increase and you will have a successful life. So I have mentioned that in my book, and it is for everyone whoever want to achieve the success in their life. And with I have mentioned many of the techniques, I have mentioned many of the examples, all the real life examples. When you will go through with that, so it will show you on every path of your life. That book will help you. It will become your guide. It will become your partner, which will tell you in that particular situation or in that particular circumstances how you can just overcome it, how you can say a right thing, a right word, how you'll listen and how you'll understand what other person is thinking about you, how you can with the life skill you can also change the situation, with the life skill you can change the outcome, and with that life skill, you'll achieve the success. So that book is all about that. That is entire extract of the journey which I lived and walked on.
Incredible. That was a very interesting answer. Now, next, what I would like to ask you is that who would you recommend this book to? Who would be your target audience, Mr. Nitin? And how do you think the book benefits the audience?
Yeah, so I would like to give you an example. Unless if you have the product which is in your warehouse, okay, and no one is selling it, so it won't have any value. But with the salesman, it can make $1 million product. So it is like he's taking it to the market, he's publicizing your product, and he's talking about that product and giving you that winning sales and that blood of the revenue for the organization to be alive.
So, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give to younger Nitin?
I would tell my younger self to be curious, to learn from own mistakes, to own the mistakes, and be curious. And with this curiosity, it will keep every door open for you. With that curiosity, you learn more. When you overcome the challenges, you will become better version of yourself. Relationship matters the most. Titles and market change, but trust always stays.
Very true. So, Nitin, this has been a wonderful conversation so far, and this only reminds us that from selling firecrackers to shaping media strategies to now penning down all of these thoughts in your book that you're publishing. We only come to realize that there's one thing that never changes. The fundamentals don't change, which is, of course, patience, trust, people, and curiosity. So this has been a wonderful conversation, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Indeed, it was a great conversation.
Please keep an eye out on Nitin Dhaboo's upcoming book, which is called The Life Skill Called Sales. And if you found this conversation valuable, please share it with someone who you think might benefit greatly from it. And that's how great ideas travel. Thank you so much.